A very warm good evening, sir. My name is Shona Smith. I'm pursuing my MPhil in English. Let me begin by thanking you for all the surprises that you have sprung on us this evening. Now, coming to the question, Switzerland recently came very close to giving all its adult citizens USD 2,500 every month, which is more than 1,50,000 Indian money as tax-free income. However, this step did not happen as the Swiss citizens themselves said they don't want it. The universal basic income scheme appears a very lovable step in that direction. Will this lead to a day when all the adult citizens of India, which includes me, will get rupees 1,50,000 every month from government tax-free?
Yeah, great question. I think I'm very glad that you, can I stand? I feel a bit more comfortable. So I'll keep this. So I think that it's a great question because, for others who don't follow this maybe as closely, this concept of a universal basic income, giving everyone a certain sum of money, was put to a referendum in Switzerland, and the Swiss rejected it. But remember, the Swiss are a funny lot in terms of, what they think about, laziness and how people will squander the money and so on. But I think that when we did the calculation for India, we're not proposing anything remotely as high. I think the number that we came out with was something like, if I'm not wrong, about 5,000-6,000 per family per year. It's going to cost, if implemented, it would cost India about 4 to 5% of GDP. Now, two things in response to your question. First, we say very clearly is that India can only afford this amount if it can phase out some of the existing welfare schemes which I spoke about. Otherwise, the country just doesn't have the money to spend an extra 4 to 5%. So it's going to be not easy to afford. So I think that's a kind of political difficulty with that proposal. The second question you ask is, I think, in some ways even a deeper question, which is that in principle, we talk about a universal basic income as in giving it to everybody, including some relatively affluent people sitting here. I hope you're affluent as well. The trick is the following. There are two things that one has to try and kind of reconcile. On the one hand, the reason we say universal is because when we've tried to target particular sections of society, what we call the most deserving or the needy, as I explained, we're not very good at doing that. So universality is a way of saying, we're not very good at targeting, let's just give it to everyone. By doing that, we'll make sure that all the deserving will get it in a way that may not happen if you target the deserving alone. That's kind of the surprise that I spoke about. The problem, however, is that politically, that the notion that some of the fat cats in India will also get 10,000 or 20,000 per family will not be acceptable. So what I think we propose is one way forward is to say that in principle we try and keep it universal, but in practice we try and exclude those who obviously don't deserve it. So instead of saying let's target the poor and the deserving and include them, what we say is that let's try and give it to everyone, but exclude the obviously undeserving. So we call this de jure universal, but de facto quasi-universal as a way of reconciling the two. That might mean you may not get the check going forward.